It's a beautiful and rather cold day. I'm working from home today, and I looked out the window. It's 4:15, and I saw that the sun's already starting to turn the sky a bit pink up here. So the time change is in full effect. It's fully dark by 5 p.m. now, so that's a little frustrating. It's currently November 13th today, and I did a little bit of a bonfire last night. It caught about half of the brush from the cliffside, and so this was a full fire pit, and now it's only half full. It just so happens to only be the left half, which is kind of funny. Beautiful day. Really, really crisp. I love snow. I'm all bundled up. I got my gloves on. Life is good. The river is beautiful. But since we had a bit of a walkabout in the dark last night, I thought it would be nice to repeat that where we can actually see with something other than the flash. So, as you can see, there's a couple of spots that I never got a pot put back in after my final order. My final order of the season went out on the 8th, so that was about a week ago, and I just didn't get any more replanted. It is supposed to, though it was 20 degrees last night, it's supposed to be 50 or even 50 some again by the end of tomorrow, which is very, very typical of this region anymore. Nothing terribly special about that. You can see my brick little seed starting area is doing quite well here, and a lot of stuff is dormant, but not as much as you'd think. I did bring in my tender perennials that are potted up, which is all of 2 of them, because I don't have a whole lot of potted plant space inside the house. One of them was the white sage, and the other one was the rosemary. They handled it fine. They're doing really good inside. So as you can see here, for example, the raspberry will probably continue to be green. I don't think, if the deer weren't eating all of my fruit, I don't think I'd even have a problem with fruit set from this. Would warm back up and we'd still be getting fruit. We'll see from the ones near where I work. It's almost the exact same thing, and it's only about 8 miles from here. Slightly warmer though, because it's a more dense of a city area. You can see the apples are still hanging from the tree, and they're fine. I have harvested those in December, and they're just sweet like candy after several freeze-thaw cycles. It's amazing. It is really like eating candy. So, a lot of the seeds are going to get settled in for the winter, get their cold exposure, become fertile enough to grow. You can harvest moderate amounts of sage. This is culinary sage all winter. The asparagus is starting to go brown at this point. I do leave the asparagus up. It is said to help insulate the root and help it live longer. I would say that the potential to harvest rhubarb is probably gone, but then again, once this thaws tomorrow, let's see if I can, that's odd. I've touched sensitive gloves, but they're not so sensitive. That's actually looking fine. Most advice about handling plants that are currently frozen is to not really move them, because breaking a frozen vascular system on a plant can cause it to go fully dormant quicker than it would have otherwise needed to, if they are slightly cold exposure hardy. For example, the plum here. It's not going to give us any fall color. It's just going to sit there green, apparently. And it's not an evergreen. It's just still green in the snow. This one is an evergreen. This is my rue. And it's perfectly happy under 1.5 inches to 2 inches of snow. Oh, I never did fix the fact that I fell into the plant here. Dearie me. But, you can see the sump pumps probably come on a couple times because there's a melted swath down the middle. Last night in the dark when we came out, it was white the whole way through. And it's drained again, even though it's frozen and everything. I would say definitely that this wood chip pile has some amount of thermal effect, just because it's melted in places there. I would also say that my basement has some thermal effect, but we knew that. We knew that. There's a door. I mean, this is like an exposed chamber with like a closed door in the basement that's sealed really well, but it's still gonna let out some heat. And the onions are doing great. It looks like I could still get radish greens there, and the celery is probably fine, but I should probably bring it in and eat it soon. Maybe before it freezes too many times. A lot of the ferns have gone pretty dormant too, but this one's still got a good amount of green on it. That one, on the other hand, does not. This one's root structure is tucked between a big pile of wood chips and this stone, which, if you watch me carrying around wood chips in that video several months ago, you watch me actually do that. Its root ball is a good 6 or so inches underneath wood chips, so maybe that's why that one's still green. Let's go see how bad the cliff looks. See if it looks terrifying or what, huh? The leaves are still in the tree. The maple really has a lot of leaves in it still. The hedge has still got a lot of green to it. These are scorched and done, but these will come back to life when it thaws. You can tell because of how crinkly this is versus how much still like a leaf that actually is. Pretty impressive. I'm sorry, I'm getting used to camera in new gloves here. That's why it was taking a while. So you can see how crinkly and scorched those are versus these ones are still green and fine. And these ones have tent worms, so I better put that in the, you can see their little nest in there. The solution to that is to cut it and stick it in the fire. There's the neighbor's jack-o'-lantern. So, this part right here is probably going to be slippy. I'm going to walk it sideways. Yeah. And then this is easy. Oh, this is amazing because it's really, wow, that's a better focus. It's really only 4:20 at this point. 4:25 maybe. And everything's just bathed in sunset already. That's one of the frustrating things about wintertime in Pittsburgh is that it gets dark. I love winter. My allergies are so much better in the wintertime that it's just really nice to experience. But I don't know. It's still frustrating. I I am still hoping that all of my little willow twigs will take, or at least a good portion of them. I can see here that the green on this has been surprisingly unimpacted by the freeze. These ones didn't have green on them, so we'll have to wait till they set new growth to find out if they've taken or not. But there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 little willow trees that could get to be massive willow trees, but I plan to harvest them for building and basket, even firewood material. It's fascinating to see through all that. I think we've had several more leaves drop, because now I can see the trees down at the lower properties that are falling in their woods. Because this goes to about there, and then it drops straight down, and then there's a forested area, and then you can see their mown lawn, which usually you can't see at all. And the house is all the way up there, and there's a shed there. And that's the only setback property on this entire hillside. And technically they own to halfway through my shed. So that's annoying as heck, and just poor city planning, really. I do have grandfathered rights written into the prior owner's records of open use of the property down to the cliff, meaning that there's agency in what you do with it, so that's good. It's a really pretty view. I'm just annoyed that it's going to be dark by 5. So, but I am ecstatic that this is still, even in the snow, it's just like walking up stairs. And there's not even any slip to it. And the slip is potentially in the plastic being underneath here, which next year my hope is to get another huge pile of wood chips just like this year and spread those out and replace the plastic up here. This is going to be a fragile spot here too. Alright, note to self, get the bagworms. They're right there. Okay. Yeah, this is really nice, and the leaves are falling down. This is that Chinese privet doing berries. Still being very green, being pretty good in the privacy factor, which is awfully nice. And then I've got this random evergreen. That's gonna acidify the soil, but if it becomes a problem, I'll have to lime. Got bricks set in the hillside there to help make it easier to navigate. So, wintertime projects will be coming soon. A lot of times those are earthworks and moving things. There will be some potting up perennials type of projects going on here, because this is important. I think I know where that can go, just to fill a gap. And I need to insulation pack a few more of these as well. So this is doing really well. I have a couple of, I could bring the mints in. There's 2 mints, and it would be nice to have those. So, yep. It's acting like winter. Okay, take care. Let me see if I can get my glove to actually turn this to stop. So I'll say bye, but it might shake for a little while before I actually get it to shut down. Okay, bye.